Hey guys, welcome back to Cinema with Chucky podcast, episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about the Chucky TV series. Last episode 1 I talked about the movies. Today I'm going to be talking about the TV series. Now, I really do like this TV series overall. We're going to get more into that. I do like the first season. The second season stumbles a little bit, but I still think it's kind of enjoyable. Season 3 I really liked. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna talk about all that jazz in a minute. But here, I would like to say I'm glad I started this podcast. I think this is gonna be the start of a very fun podcast. Now we're gonna start with the podcast. First, I'm gonna start off with the storyline of the series. Now, the storyline of the show, like starting for season 1, is about you have these three group of kids, Jake, Devin, and Lexi. They're in his middle school, and you have Jake, who is this weird, awkward kid, and he lives with his alcoholic father, played by Devin Sawa. And what I really enjoy about the storyline is that they go back to the classic Dark Chucky, about like how there's this kid who finds his doll, and he lives in this awkward situation where like he gets bullied. And I'm glad they kind of brought that classic feeling back, because I miss that from the zaniest and wacky, goofy side of this franchise, because I'm not really a fan of that side of the franchise. I'm more of a fan of the dark classic stuff. So I really like how they played the storyline out here, and I do enjoy how throughout the first season how he's dealing with his identity, and how these group of kids are trying to stop Chucky. And we have our other legacy characters here. We have Tiffany, and we have Nika. We have all of these legacy characters, and we even have the return of Andy and his foster sister Kyle. And it's kind of hard to dive into the show, but I'm going to get to it later. I'm just letting you know how the storyline of the show was really well done here, because for a horror TV series, it's kind of hard for like the writing to be very good, and I was very surprised how the writing was very good in the first season. All right, now we're gonna dive into the plot and characters. So, like I said, I'm really starting with the first season. I'm gonna move on to the second season next week. I mean, another time. But I really enjoy the plot. Like I said, the storyline, like the plot, is about like in the first season that these group of kids, like they're in this middle school, and Jake is dealing with his homosexuality, and like I say, he lives with his alcoholic father, and like he's dealing with his identity. And you have Lexi, who was the bully, and like she really bullies him. She was a horrible person. Like, I could tell when the show came out, people wanted her to die violently. And plus, trust me, they did a great job of us despising her, because I really did not like her character in the first season. But once I'm going to get into the negatives about how to do with the character in the first season, I'm going to get to that in probably in a little while. But first off, I really like Jake. I like how he is like a kid who's, like I said, is with his sexuality. And I like how his relationship between him and Devin. I like how like they're very good friends, and they kind of turn into a little bit of a couple. And I like that how that played out. I thought that was a really good move for like. I like how they did that for that community. I feel like Don Mancini said that character was a version of himself, and I really like how they did that character in the first season. Um, I thought for the legacy characters, I love Nika, played by Fiona Dorff. She was phenomenal. I love how she moves to being Nika and Chucky. I think she does phenomenal. She's by far the best actress on the show. As for Andy and Kyle, the Pulp Fiction scene in their intro scene in episode 6, I thought that was fire. I loved that. They were killing it in that scene. I love that sequence. After that, I feel like they didn't do enough with them, and it kind of feels like they did that in season 2. I just really want more of them, because they do very good. I like what they do with their characters. We just need more of them. As for Tiffany, for negative, this carries on, but season 1, I feel like they just dialed the camp up a little bit. It's not as extreme as what we're gonna get to in season 2 and 3, but she was hamming it up. She was chewing scenery, but I do like aspects of her character season 1. She still has some of that smart, maniacal Tiffany that we have in Bride of Chucky, but she was kind of hamming it up a bit. But overall, I thought the plot was very smart. I liked the characters for the most part. And I'm gonna get to our favorite killer doll in a minute, but I feel like what they were trying to do for season 1, I thought they really did good for the characters and the legacy characters. Now I'm gonna get to the killer doll himself, my man Chucky. Chucky, I mean, he was back on top for Chucky season 1. We haven't seen this Chucky in a long time, maybe like since Bride of Chucky, and how he did good in Curse of Chucky. But I really like how they brought the classic Chucky back, dark humor Chucky, and Cult of Chucky. He was lacking. He felt tired. He felt like he didn't want to be there. He just felt like that. Like his plan was gonna work, and he was just gonna move on with his day. That's what kind of felt like Chucky was in Cult of Chucky. But I'm glad he had his energy back. The voice acting by Brad Dorff is phenomenal as always. I just love what they do with his character. I'm mixed on the flashbacks what they do, but I do like how they just do the simple thing that he was messed up from the beginning as a kid. I like that. That's how it's supposed to be. Anyway, Chucky's great. I like how what they do with his character. I love his plan, how like he's trying to find a teenager to kill. So he can raise a whole army of Chuckies. I like his plan. That was very smart. I like that. It kind of made Chucky season 1 kind of made Cult of Chucky a little better for what they were trying to explain in Cult of Chucky. So overall, I love what they do with Chucky in season 1. So yeah. Now we're finna talk about my man Devin Sawa. I feel like in Chucky season 1 and onward, for Chucky season 1, he does absolutely incredible. I love how he goes through these two different characters. They're very different. I like how he plays Jake's alcoholic father. I like how like he's so aggressive, and I like how he just wants his son to be like not as awkward as he says he is. I just love how big of a douche he is. He does so good in that role. And when you move on to Junior's father, the what's his name? Lucas. I like how he plays the pressured father, like how he pressures Junior, like to do running and stuff. I really like how Devin made that character different. I feel like what Devin Sawa does great with all his roles, especially in season 3, is that how he's able to make his characters very different. And I feel like he's one of the more shining stars of the show, alongside, of course, Brad Dorff and Fiona Dorff. I feel like he's one of the show's best actors. So I feel like Devin Sawa, he's thumbs up. Now, like I said, I was gonna dive more into their characters. Yeah, I am. Now, like I said, I like Jake's character. I talked more about him as well as Lexi, but I really like how their relationship, which this is where I'm gonna dive into like the mix aspect. The relationship between Jake, Devin, and Lexi are good enough. It could have been well better. I do like the on the positive side of the mix aspect is that I do like how Jake and Devin like have this little honeymoon phase. I like how like they how he has feelings for him, and I do like it was something different for the show. I feel like it was a nice. They were good queer characters, and I do like how they play out. I do like how they feel affected toward each other. I like how by the end they're really fighting against together. But as far as like the negative side is that I don't feel like that on Devin's side of things that I don't feel like that he was ready for it yet. I know that he liked them, but he didn't feel like he was ready for it yet. And Jake did, but not Devin, not so much. But that's what's on the negative side. That's what's in the mix. As all together, it was okay. It was kind of a little bit. It wasn't the best. Because, in episode 1 through 4, she was a total mean spirited. She was horrible. And I don't like. And I feel like they would have stopped at where she dresses up as Jake's dead father. And she saw the remorse for her actions in episode 3. Maybe that entire negative could go away. but as a relationship, how she just suddenly becomes friends with them in episode 5. In episode 7, she's already talking about that they're family. I'm like, okay, y'all moving a little too far on this. That's why it's in the mixed aspect. Otherwise, I do like what they do as their characters as a whole. As like individually, but together the relationship, it's okay. It could have been done much better. But they were okay. I do like I said, even I like all their characters this season, but they could have done so much more with their characters as far as like their whole relationship. Now my next mix aspect is the kills. Now I finished here with my positive side of the mix. I love the kills. The kill where Junior beats Devin Sawa with Chucky and he's like beating him to death. I love that kill. Also like the one where Chucky pushes the nanny with the dish knives and she just cuts her neck. Also like the kill where Chucky kills that police officer with those hospital needles. I thought that was pretty awesome. And I also like the one where Chucky kills the principal's office head off. Also, that was pretty creative. But why it's in the miss aspect is that some of the other kills were kind of a little too goofy. Like the first kill we got, where Chucky pukes out vomit or beer on the other Devon Sawa, and he like electrocutes himself. I thought that was pretty goofy. I didn't like that. I also didn't like the one where I just didn't like the whole kill where Chucky stabs Lexi's dad in the butt. I thought that was kind of a little lazy killing it. So yeah, that's why it's in the mix because there are more good ones than there are bad ones, but that's why it goes in the mix. Overall, I did like the gore in season 1. The gore gets much better in other seasons. All right, my two negatives. One of them is I know I already talked about her, but I really want to talk about her separately. That's gonna be Tiffany. Tiffany, I love her and Bride of Chucky. I think she's smart, maniacal. Even see the Chucky, I do still kind of like her a little bit, even though I'm not a big fan of that movie very much. She still kind of have that little spunk that she had in Bride of Chucky. Ever since see the Chucky, Cult of Chucky, this season 2 and 3, she goes way too goofy. She hams it up. She chews scenery. She goes way too cartoonish. She doesn't really have that dark maniacal side of her. Now that's why I had her in the mix aspect with the others. Is because that, like I said, she has some dark things about her. She still has some dark aspects to her. But overall, I'm not really a fan of what they do with her in this season, and it gets much worse throughout the later stuff. But yeah, I already talked about her. She's in the negatives. It hurts to say it that I put her here separately, but yeah. Alright, my final negative is the finale. I'm not the biggest fan of how they end things here. I feel like that's a running gag through season 2 and 3. But I just don't like how they end things, like how Tiffany says she's done with Chucky and all that stuff. I feel like there's some entertaining moments, but how it ends up as a hard negative is that I don't like how they ended things. They made some very bad decisions, like how they kind of made something interesting, but then drop it. I don't like that. That's not how you end the season. Like I said, there's some entertaining moments in the season, in this finale. Like I said, the underdog is incredible. I did like the Chucky moments with Junior, that was fun. But overall, the negatives kind of outdo the positives for the finale. But like I said, it was not a good way to end the season 1. So yeah, yeah. So overall, the finale not very good, and that's my last negative. So overall, for the podcast, I'll give Chucky season 1 a 3.75 out of 5. I think it's very solid. I think it's a very nice step for the series. I really like the series overall. I just don't like how they end things, and I don't like how they do Tiffany or Lexi's character arc very much. But overall, it's a good season. I really like it. So I really hope you enjoy today's podcast. for Chucky season 1. Next week I'll be doing Chucky season 2, and eventually I'll be going to dive into like a whole entire episode. I'll be talking about the characters of the franchise. So overall, you know what I mean. I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Thank you for watching. Sayonara, suckers.